I had somebody ring me up the other day. Well, I say they ring me up, only my phone is permanently on silent because I get all sorts of calls from all sorts of strange people. So I don't actually answer the phone. People have to leave a message. It protects me from anybody who, is there to sort of demand money and want to try and contract with me in some way. Or if I slip up on the jurisdiction thing, which if they catch you off guard, you go, oh, it's the phone, and you don't recognise the number. So I don't tend to answer the phone at all. But somebody left a message, and it was the energy supplier, the electric company, who supplies me, the broker really, who supplies me apparently with electricity. And they said to me on their message, we're ringing up to see if we can arrange a time to come and give you a smart meter. Now, every time I've paid this particular utility bill, and I know some people will say, Richard, what are you doing paying for electricity? Isn't it all free? Doesn't it come from the ether? You tell us it does. And we're all fighting our own battles in our own ways. Council tax, water rates, the gas, electricity, the government, HMRC, taxes. We're all fighting in different ways and we're all picking our battles. And of course, it's very sensible not to pick a battle with everything all at once. Incrementally, slowly, catchy monkey type thing. So when they were ringing up saying, oh, do you want a smart meter? And left this message, I was thinking, yes, I've seen this on their website every time I've gone to pay for the electricity. There's this, would you like a smart meter? Would you like a smart meter? No, I don't. So I haven't engaged in any of that. I've just dealt with that particular issue and left it as that. And now, of course, they're saying, oh, well, your meters, they're all obsolete now. I thought, well, they look perfectly fine. The wheel goes round. Ah, yes, but the thing the BBC do, I never really quite understood. I don't get any BBC here now because I don't have a television. And I've tried listening to see if I could get the Home Service or Radio 1 or BBC Radio 4 coming out of my meter, but no, apparently it's a telly switch or something like that. And as I haven't got a television, it can't switch it on or off, can it? So that's quite handy. Anyway, they said, well, that's going to be shut down. And so it's going to cost you potentially more at night time or in the daytime. And we can't guarantee it's going to be cheap. And I thought to myself, well, I don't care. I don't care. It seems perfectly all right for me. And if you're going to force me to have something I don't want, I'll go to another company. Or I will do this. And I thought about this the other day. I thought, okay, so because I hear all these stories. People send me emails, they do. Emails of these horror stories where people have smashed the door down, they've come in and they've said, well, you're having a smart meter, whether you like it or not. And you think, well, you do have a choice. You could just say, I don't want any of your electricity at all. Thank you very much. I'll come back to that in a moment. But then I thought, well, if you are being forced to have one of these things, and you say, well, okay, listen, I'm not refusing, because it's always good not to refuse, and do some sort of conditional acceptance. Yes, I'll have your smart meter, thanks very much. Yes, you can install that, but I just need you, the installer, and you, the company, and not just the company, but the managing director of the company, and maybe a couple of head-up people of that company, that you will be, no matter whether you still work at that company tomorrow or in 6 months' time or in 6 years' time, you are personally liable for any damage that is caused to me or indeed my property. So if this thing catches fire, or if I get radiation poisoning or headaches or anything like that, if you're saying that it's perfectly safe, then I want you to sign an indemnity contract with me, a liability. So you take liability, personal liability, if anything happens. If you believe this product is as good as you say it is and it is useful, if I'm defrauded, if I am hurt, if I am injured, if my property is damaged, then you will take, all of you, including the installer, including the CEO of the company, you will, regardless of whether you leave the company, you are personally liable. And then, if you believe that much in this product, that it's safe and it's going to be of use to me, I will take it. And I wonder if they'd sign that. I wonder if they would sign that with all these things that are being forced on us. Okay, you want to do this? fair enough, but you must sign something because you believe in it so much. You must sign a personal indemnity to say that actually it's perfectly safe and you're willing to put yourself on the line. You're putting the money where your mouth is, and see whether they'd sign that. I'm sure they wouldn't at all entertain. No, we can't do that, but you've got to have it. Oh, really? Oh, really? So I was thinking if you get to that point where they're really that belligerent and saying, well, you've got to have it. You could, of course, you've always got the choice to say, well, I don't want your electricity, thanks very much indeed. You've always got the choice. Because let's face it, we've only had electricity for 100 years or so. I mean, when you read some of the old books from, say, the 1920s, you realise that the towns and the villages were just coming on stream, many of them. They had gas and they had gas lights. And we've all become so conditioned to thinking that it's absolutely essential to have electricity. People for the time before 100 years ago, since the beginning and the dawn of time, didn't have electricity. Unless, of course, we're talking about different resets and different populations who may or may not have, and Tesla things and all that. But I'm not going into that, thanks very much. All I'm saying is, we don't have to have it, do we? And these days, you could buy some solar panels, you could charge up your laptop, and you think, well, what do I actually need? Now, we've been conditioned, I suppose, to think that we must have this, because we need it. We need it for a digital world. Well, if they want to keep me in that digital world where everything's got to be done on a digital thing and you have to sign in on a digital thing, the last thing they really want is for me not to have the electricity to power up or charge these digital things. And it isn't that you have to have electricity. So you could just turn around and say, well, I don't want your electricity, thanks very much. I'll just have candles, I'll just have a bit of gas or a wood-burning stove, or I'll just eat salads. I don't need your electricity, thanks very much. Yes, it is convenient for lights and things, but we managed before. And of course, if I don't have your electricity and you're not prepared to sign a personal liability indemnity insurance policy with me, then you can't force me to have a digital ID, because I will have nothing that is digital and won't have anything that runs on electricity, you see. You could just say, I don't want any of that. I've not got a phone, no, because that runs on electricity, doesn't it? Yeah, especially a phone. Digital ID, I can't log onto the internet because that runs on electricity, and you won't let me have electricity unless it's under these certain conditions. But I'm not mandated to have electricity, am I, into the house? I'm not mandated. You've made it very convenient for me to have the electricity coming into the house, and you've made everything very, very easy and simple, and I can watch the television in the evenings and be brainwashed by your programming, of course. But actually, I could sit there by candlelight and read illuminating books. I could do thinking for myself. I could take back responsibility for myself, and I don't necessarily need your product. Or I could manufacture my own electricity with a few solar panels and maybe a little generator and various things, just enough to tick me over for those essentials that I have in life. But by the way, because you're not giving me free electricity, I'm not going to enter into your digital world business, thanks very much, because I haven't got enough electricity to power up all those things that you want, the digital IDs and the digital future and all of this. So actually, I basically fall out of your thing. Now, one or two people could do that, but if a number of people started to do that, I think they'd have to say, well, we want them in the digital world, we need to capture them, and if they're not prepared to have electricity, which of course is their choice, they don't have to have it, and if they can't afford it, or if we've made it rotten for them by smart metering them, we better give them something that's absolutely free. Otherwise, we'll never have them in the digital ID world. We won't be able to keep them in the 15-minute cities, because we need to have them digitally and powered by electricity in order so we can keep an eye on them. Well, it's something to think about, isn't it? Anyway, there's a thought for the day. Thank you very much for watching if you did. And yeah, put them on the metal. Turn it round. Say, well, if you're not prepared to say, put your name to it. You're not prepared to tell me that this product is absolutely safe and there will be no countermeasures whatsoever. Nothing nasty is going to happen from it. I won't get radiation poisoning. You're not spying on me. It's not going to blow up. It's not going to damage me. It's not going to injure me. Then why wouldn't you put your name to it, mate? Certainly going to try that myself if they try and enforce it. And also, maybe just take my house off grid. maybe just say, do you know what? Don't need your electricity. Thanks very much, very kind of you, but my ancestors managed perfectly well without it, and you're not going to entrap me. Cheers, everybody.